Okay, so today we're gonna have a look. So we'll do a practical trail planning session. In this case, for our upcoming 3-day trek to Venkateswara in August 14, 15, 16. So we have several, map resources available for South India. I'm gonna make extensive use of Google. Google has some, high resolution, fairly detailed maps available. So let me just start from the beginning. Let me close all my windows and fire up a new session of Google Maps. So Google Maps gives you a couple of options. So as you probably are, most of you are familiar with, when you're inside the metros and in the cities, you will have obviously the map view, which gives you all the roads, and you can basically navigate from one street to another street. So this is actually very nice when you're in the city. However, if you're going outside, so in our case, we are planning for a trek in the Venkateswara National Reserve Forest, which is basically this big V-shaped forest here. So here you can see that if you zoom in, that there is absolutely no detail, obviously, because there are no roads in the jungle. So for those, areas, so kind of rural areas, jungle areas, there are two views which will be of interest. One will be the satellite view. Satellite view, which is basically a photographic view from 90 degrees from the satellite. Depending on which area you're looking at, you will get more or less detail. Google maintains a big database. For some areas, like in this specific case, Venkateswara, the detail is fairly high. So you can, so currently I'm zooming in. I'm just scrolling my mouse. So I'm zooming in deeper and deeper and deeper. On the left side, you can actually see the detail. So if I zoom out, you can see that this line becomes like a longer distance, 500 meter or 1 kilometer. If I zoom in, you can see that the scale kind of magnifies, and I can, I can go fairly detailed, right? 100 meter or 50 meter here. So, and you can see this. What you're looking at here is some bright space in the middle of the green jungle. So in this case, this will be a big river actually that we typically will choose as a trekking location. Ziba, can you explain the directions probably? So we'll make use of this map later. This will contain lots of interesting detail to kind of fine-tune the trail. However, initially I'm gonna actually focus on a different view, which is called the topographic view, or in Google terminology they have called it terrain view. So the terrain view actually gives you kind of the topography of the terrain. So it will basically show you, if I just zoom out a little bit on say South India here, right? So you can see Chennai here. You can see that all this place looks fairly kind of uniform. You don't see any disturbances there, which means basically it's like more like plains, flatland. You can see that a little bit towards the northwest from Chennai. You see a couple of patches here. So these patches where you see some kind of disturbance here. Where you see some kind of disturbance, these will all be mountain ranges. So in this case, you can see our CTC's favorite location here, Nagalapuram. North of that or west of that, you have the Nagari hill range, which is also fairly large. Nagalapuram is typically we go to the northern sides, to the to the southern side, excuse me. To the northern side, you will have something which most of you might be familiar with, which is the Tada waterfalls, kind of a famous tourist spot. Then here you can see much bigger is the Venkateswara National Reserve Forest. So here you see like a big kind of mountain range. And before we zoom into that, let me also show you a little bit north of Chennai. Sorry, towards the south. Towards the south, we see here one big patch. This one is basically the here it will be the Yelagiri hill range. And here we have this big patch will be the Kalrayan hill range below Erode basically. If you go further than south, you will have Salem here. In Salem you have the Shivaroy Hills near Erkat. You will have this one where Arul is taking a few people this weekend for this pipeline work, the Kalrijn Hills, which is also a fairly big hill range. And then we have the Collie Hills, where a couple of, 30 people are heading to this weekend again. And then, of course, if you look at the global South India map, you can see this big patch here, which is the Western Ghats, basically. Most of Kerala, as well as in Karnataka, you see this whole mountain range on the left side of South India. So now let's zoom in a little bit. So from this level, okay, you could say, okay, what's the use of this? But once you start zooming in a little bit more, so here again Tirupati, so this is Venkateswara. If we zoom in a little more, so once you come to the highest 3 zoom levels, you will see some interesting stuff. Voila, you can see these lines appearing, right? So these are contour lines. If I zoom in a little more, you will see them even more clearly. So let me take this patch here. Let me press F11 to have a maximum zoom. So you can see these contour lines. So let me just explain for 1 or 2 minutes so that everyone is very clear on that one. Hello. So what is a contour line? A contour line is basically a line where the terrain, is of a fixed altitude. So for example, if you follow this 700-meter line here, right, you can see it curving all around. So if you follow this line, if you would be walking along this line, you would be going exactly flat at an altitude of 700 meter, right? So you can see that every 100 meter they have a thick line, 600-meter line, the 700, 800, 900. And then in between the 100-meter lines, you can see 5 lighter lines, so that will be 20 meters, right? So that basically means if you walk from this thick line to this thick line, you're going to you're going to go kind of 100 meters vertical. And if you look then at the horizontal scale here, this is 500 meters, this line. And so for example, let's say if we go from here to here, this could be around 500 meter horizontal, right? If you take this line and put it from here to there, that's a distance of 500. So, and at the same time you're going up 100 meters, right? So that means you're going 5 times forwards and 1 time upwards. So that's a 1 by 5, 90 degrees by 5. So that's anyone good in maths? 18 degrees up, right? So that's kind of a medium moderate slope. So okay, so everyone should kind of understand that, right? You can go in all directions, left, right, up, down. So that gives you your horizontal direction and your horizontal distance. The vertical kind of difference in the terrain is kind of shown with these lines. So a couple more things now. So if you look at this, I guess when you see this the first time, it doesn't make sense. But let me try to kind of explain you that you can start interpreting this whole thing. So if you look at this thing here, you can see if you walk along this line, you will be walking flatly again at 900 meter altitude. Here, this one 920, 940, 960. And here actually you can see that you have reached the innermost line. So right where the line comes to, where the circle comes together, that basically means that this will be a peak. This will be the highest point in the surrounding area, right? Because if you go in any direction from this point, basically, whether you go up, whether you go right, left or down, you will actually be crossing topo lines and you will be going from 960 towards 900, towards 800 and lower. So the concentric circles, the inner circles, those will be corresponding to mountains, to peaks basically. Yeah. So this will be close to 1,000 meter actually, more or less. So here again you can see another 900 meter peak. Here you have a 980 meter peak. So if you just scan a little bit more, voila, here you can see a concentric circle. So this will be close to again 980 or 1,000 meter. This is like an elliptical kind of peak. Right, so the inner lines basically are the highest points because you're as much as high as possible. You're in sight. 10 minutes, okay. That's I'll keep cutting these recordings.